Our own nutrition, we usually picture like a plate of whole foods, right? A steak, maybe some fresh vegetables.
Yeah, exactly. But then you look at our cat's bowls, and it's just a scoop of, well, uniform dry brown pebbles.
Right. It looks totally industrial, and that visual disconnect gets right to the heart of today's central question. Are standard commercial feed-grade diets actually the optimal way to meet a cat's nutritional needs? Or do they require human-grade, high-protein foods that strictly mimic what they'd eat in the wild? I'll be arguing for the commercial side. These diets are, scientifically balanced, heavily regulated, and crucially safe from pathogens.
And I'll be taking the evolutionary biology angle. Cats are obligate carnivores, so I'll argue their bodies fundamentally require diets totally free from the starchy fillers and synthetic additives that, well, mass manufacturing relies on.
Let's start with that mass manufacturing, because it's actually a triumph of precision. Commercial diets are formulated to meet really strict profiles set by AFCO.
Right, the Association of American Feed Control Officials.
Exactly. They ensure every single batch delivers 25 essential vitamins and minerals. Things like taurine and preformed vitamin A, which, cats literally cannot synthesize themselves.
Sure, the baselines are met.
Right. But plus, feed-grade animal byproducts, like organs or bone, they might sound gross to us, but they actually provide highly bioavailable nutrients for felines.
Bioavailable? Maybe. But we really need to define feed grade here. Legally, feed grade means the ingredients aren't fit for human consumption.
Well, but they aren't humans.
True, but human grade means it meets FDA standards for us to eat. And when we look at how a cat actually processes food, those feed grade formulas kind of fall apart. I mean, look at their mouths. Cats completely lack salivary amylase.
Ah, the enzyme that breaks down starches.
Precisely. Because they don't have amylase in their saliva to jumpstart carbohydrate digestion, the entire burden falls on the pancreas. It's a biological bottleneck. And standard commercial diets are just packed with refined grains and legumes.
Wait, I wouldn't say packed.
They absolutely are. And legumes contain anti-nutrients like phytic acid. Think of phytic acid like a microscopic magnet. It binds to essential minerals like calcium and iron in the digestive tract, and it just drags them right out of the cat's body before they can even be absorbed.
Okay, but demonizing carbohydrates ignores their functional role. Greens aren't just like cheap fillers. They are a highly efficient energy delivery vehicle.
Highly efficient. I don't know about that.
Well, if protein is the heavy-duty building material for muscle, carbohydrates are like the fast-burning kindling that keeps the furnace running. Research shows cats can digest carbohydrates and utilize glucose for energy.
Yeah, they can survive on it.
Exactly. By burning carbs for daily energy, they actually spare the high-value protein to maintain lean muscle mass.
But surviving on kindling isn't the same as thriving. When cats consume these heavy carbohydrate loads that they don't immediately burn, it gets stored as fat. I mean, it's a driving force behind the massive feline obesity epidemic we are seeing.
There are a lot of factors in obesity, though. Portion control is huge.
Sure, but here's the kicker. To make those cheap, starchy ingredients sit on a shelf for a year, manufacturers pump them full of synthetic additives.
You mean preservatives, which are necessary for safety.
Preservatives and texturizers. Carrageenan is a common thickener, and it's linked to gastrointestinal inflammation. Then you have BHA and BHT, which are synthetic preservatives used to keep feed-grade fats from going rancid.
Which keeps the food safe.
But studies have flagged them as potential carcinogens that can severely stress the liver and kidneys over time.
Okay, we absolutely should scrutinize additives. I agree with that. But let's talk about the real-world alternative you're proposing. You advocate for human-grade or raw boutique diets, right? But those are frequently slapped with FDA recalls.
Well, commercial food gets recalled too.
Yeah, but we've seen recent recalls for fatal thiamine deficiencies simply because boutique formulators didn't get the math right. We've also seen severe salmonella and listeria contamination in gently cooked options. The intense heat processing in feed-grade diets guarantees a sterile, nutritionally complete meal every single time.
It guarantees sterility, yes, but at a massive physiological cost. even if we assume a cat's highly acidic stomach is evolved to handle some bacterial load from raw prey, let's just look at what that dry, extruded kibble does to them.
It cleans their teeth? Just kidding, I know that's a myth.
Exactly, it's a total myth. Cats evolved as desert-dwelling predators. They have an incredibly low thirst drive because they are biologically wired to get their water directly from the bodies of their prey. Feeding them dry kibble basically forces them into a state of chronic, mild dehydration.
Now, on hydration, we actually do find some common ground. I completely agree that moisture-rich foods are critical for urinary and kidney health. But I argue you can get that high moisture and high protein from a rigorously tested, commercial feed-grade canned diet, completely avoiding the pathogen risks of raw food altogether.
I'm really glad we agree on the moisture aspect, but the biological reality is that a cat's body still processes human-grade, biologically appropriate ingredients much more efficiently than feed-grade byproducts bound together with starches.
Well, the divide definitely remains. I maintain that strictly regulated commercial diets provide the safest, most precise nutritional profile available. They deliver complete nutrition without the heavy risk of pathogens or, amateur deficiencies.
And I stand by the evolutionary blueprint. Minimizing carbohydrates and utilizing high-protein, human-grade ingredients is simply the most effective way to prevent systemic health issues and really respect the feline physiology.
It's definitely a complex issue, and we highly encourage our listeners to critically examine those pet food labels. Look into the specific ingredients, the moisture content, and the actual science behind them.
Yeah, do your own research.
Absolutely. Next time you look at that bowl of uniform brown pebbles, you'll know exactly how much rigorous science and heated debate goes into every single bite.